All right, guys, it's very sincere. I'll give you 5 steps to make your beats YouTube ready. I know you've seen those beats on YouTube and you've noticed how hard they are really hitting. And I'll give you 5 steps to make your beats sound like that. Okay? So let's start with what we are working with.
It's viral tunes.
All right, so first things first, the first step is to gain stage. Gain staging just means that you need to balance your volumes. If you notice what I have here on the screen, you see that some volumes are high, while some are a bit on the low end. This is because I wanted the kick to drive this particular song, the kick and then the melodies. If you notice, you see that the guitars are a bit on the high, even the keyboard as well. So some persons like the bass to drive the song. So depending on what you want to drive that song, you want to gain stage properly. This song also has a little bit of bass presence, so it's just on a low. If I wanted the bass to drive the song, then I'll rack it up to around this point. So the first step is to ensure that your volumes are set right. Then next, you want to create a bus channel. If you notice here, you see I have a drum bus. What it means is that all these drums I have used in this particular beat, the drums I've used in this particular beat are all routed to this particular drum bus. If you don't know how to do that, I'll teach you briefly. So what you want to do, because let me show you what I mean. Once I pause this channel, you see that the drums are completely off, and this gives me a little bit of control. Once I turn off this knob, the drums go off completely. I also created one for the melodies. It's right here, instruments. So when I turn this off, you will no longer hear anything, even when it's playing. When I turn it on, you can hear the instruments back. So it gives me control of whatever I'm doing. So you want to ensure to create buses. This is the drum bus. And to do that, what you need to do is hold control, left click, and then drag. So when I drag, it will copy all the drums. And then you come over to this section, right click. I think it should be right click now. And then you are going to say route to this track only. So when you do that, all the drums you are using or whatever you've highlighted goes to that particular channel. I've done that already. That's why you'll notice that if I highlight here now, you see that there's one single arrow pointing to this place. It means that all of these I've highlighted are routed to this particular track. So this channel is controlling whatever I'm doing. You see, when I turn it back on, you notice that the drums come back. All right, so the next one we are going to do is panning. If you notice, some instruments are panned to the left, while some are panned to the right. This is a knob to do that. So when you left click and then you drag to the right, it goes to the right. If you drag to the left, it goes to the left. If you drag to the right, it goes to the right. Now, the reason why we do this is to make sure that there is space for the vocals to sit. Okay, so even if you have 20 instruments, ensure that most of them are panned. But you don't want to pan your kick. If you notice, my kick here is not panned. Also, you don't pan your bass. This is my bass now. It's not panned anywhere. I like to keep them at the center. Okay, then some other instruments, I might choose not to pan them. But just ensure that whatever you do, you have to make space for the vocals. Okay, so that's that for that. So if you notice, some are sounding a little bit to the right and then some are sounding a little bit to the left. Let me play it so that you hear exactly what I'm talking about.
Viral tunes.
All right, so just to remind you, I have a video on how to mix properly already, and that will teach you the essentials of how to EQ a song. So you can go to my profile and then check out that video. Okay, so moving on, what we want to do next is to do an EQ. So you can come over to the master channel and then select this region, then go to parametric EQ2. Okay, so what you want to do first is right click. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I think it should be right click. Then you go to mastering, then go to a 20 hertz cut. What it will open up a channel like this.
Viral tunes.
What you want to do is try to reduce the bass section so it will not be too muddy to maybe 30 hertz, okay, or 32. Then you reduce this one to probably 16,000, okay, so that it will not be too harsh on this end, if you understand exactly what I mean.
Viral tunes.
So once you've done this, you open up another parametric EQ. This time you want to look for harsh frequencies and bring it down. And this is the basics of even EQing vocals. So what you do, use these knobs here to look for harsh frequencies and bring them down.
Viral tunes.
Notice that when I rack up this portion, the high end becomes a little bit more pronounced, like so.
Viral tunes.
Okay, so if you want a little bit of the high end presence, that is the hi-hats and some other stuff, you want to increase this portion a little.
Viral tunes.
So that's basically how an EQ works. This is the low end of the mix of the beats. This is the mid region. It's even written here. So if you want a little bit more bars, you want to increase some of these portions. And then if you want the mid region pronounced, you want to raise some of these sections, and also for the high or treble. Okay, so that's that. You want to ensure that you EQ right. First, you use the first EQ to remove the low end and some of the high end. Then you use a corrective EQ to boost some frequencies you want to be boosted. Then finally, you need a soft clipper. Basically, as beat makers, what we do is to ensure that the beat is a little bit loud so that it can be audible. It's the job of the mix engineer to ensure that the beat sits well with the vocal. So what you want to do is to ensure that your beat is a little bit loud. And one way to do that is to use a soft clipper. If you notice, I've used even two soft clippers. I already have a video on how soft clippers work, but for now, I'll just show you how to use it. So when I open it up, what you want to do is reduce the threshold like I've done here now, and then try to add a little bit of the post. So when you rack up the post, you hear it go louder. Let me reduce it so I hear how it sounds. You see, it's a little bit quiet, but when you rack it up, your beat becomes louder. Then what you want to do is monitor this region, ensure that it's at least at 0. You don't want it to exceed 0 to probably 3 or so.
Viral tunes.
So you want to work with your ear and also your eyes. I ensure once it's leaving this yellow mark and it's getting to the red portion, you know you're already having clipping issues. Let me show you what I mean.
Viral tunes.
Okay, you might start to experience clipping issues, especially if you've not mixed the beat properly. But I think I've done a really good job on mixing the beats right, so you might not really get much of the clipping. So if one is not enough, you can add another one to further boost the volume. So typically that's how it works. Use an EQ, and then finally, maybe a bonus tip for the drum boss, you want to use this particular plugin, Fruity. Let's use a compressor now. Okay. For the compressor, you might want to reduce the threshold, or maybe I'll make a separate video and you see that there's a gain knob here. This gain will help you to rack up the volume a little while dropping the threshold, and then add a little bit of the attack. Then maybe change this from hard to vintage, depending on what you want to achieve.
Viral tunes.
So notice that as I turn up the gain, the 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 beat starts to sound even harsher. So I'll do a separate video on how to use the Fruity compressor. But for now, this is all the tips I have for you. Let's go ahead and enjoy the beat, and I'll catch you on the next one. If you've not subscribed, do well to subscribe because it encourages me to make more educational content like this one. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Viral tunes.